Yo, stop making trading hard. Let's just trade support and resistance. Let me teach you guys how to be patient, how to mark out your setups, how to use the higher time frames so you can stop scalping, finally get profitable, and go retire your parents and show off God wills. Let's go.
Okay. So the way that market works, especially stocks and crypto, we're playing linear charts. The goal of this is to go up. Okay. So remember, resistance is going to be points where market decides to fall downward. Support is going to be areas where market decides to bounce upward. Once market makes resistances on stocks and crypto, especially charts, where the goal of it is to go upward, we have to take into account that market has to break past resistances in order for it to go upward. So in order for market to go in an upwards direction, it has to break past areas of resistance. And market can come down to areas of resistance and turn it into support. Okay? So when market decides to top out and fall down, that's resistance. When market decides to bottom out and bounce in a V formation upward, that's support. Okay? Resistance, once broken, turns into support some of the time. And support, once broken, turns into resistance. Okay? So say price did this, for example, broke past this, say it rejected from this area of resistance like that. Boom, didn't go all the way quite down here again. Broke past this again, came back, retest. As we can see, resistance turned into support. Okay, and then broke past this area of resistance. Okay, and with this, we can also conclude, since we know that resistance, in order for markets to go up, resistances have to be broken. And resistance can be broken, and then support can be created off of it. That's how market works in the staircase. And we also can conclude that, okay, that means that support right here, once broken, and that means price definitely wants to go down. When supports gets broken, that means price wants to go down. When resistance gets broken, price wants to go up. Okay, so when resistance gets broken, price wants to go up. When support gets broken, price wants to go down. Okay, so when resistance gets broken, price wants to go up. When support gets broken, price wants to go down. Okay, so this is going to be an area of support right here, and we're going to have areas of resistances up here. Okay, cool. And support, once broken, can also turn into resistance. So just like we know, resistance, once broken, can turn into support. Okay, resistance is when price decides to go in a downward wizard hat formation, upside down V, and the support is a normal V. Okay, so resistance, once broken, can turn into support, and support, once broken, can turn into resistance. Okay, so markets can work just like this. Now, that means that if we're going to long, ideally, we should wait for resistance to get broken. So that brings us to a simple rule. Okay, this is going to be a big rule to buying and holding and being profitable within the stock market. If you're buying and holding, playing for an upwards direction, make sure there is resistances above current price on the daily slash 4-hour time frames. Okay, make sure there's resistances above current price on the 4-hour slash daily time frames in order to buy and hold. This means that price has upside, and inshallah, if God wills, price will chase the resistances to try and break them. The goal is for price to chase old resistances and break them. Okay? So if price has no resistances above it on the 4-hour or the daily time frame, as you can see, Bitcoin here, if I get on my daily, I have one resistance above me. Okay? Versus, let me go ahead and pick something else here. So Bitcoin, this just wouldn't be a good time for me to buy. Versus, let me say Ethereum. I have all of this upside above me. Okay. I have all of these resistances above me. Versus Bitcoin, I only have one resistance above me. Okay. So Ethereum, I have all this upside, and this is just, I'm not telling you like either one is better than the other, but I'm just telling you hypothetically, this is how longing would work. And we're going to go into a stock sense too. But 3 or 4, what? Gotcha. 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 Well, I see what you mean. Well, you don't really have to predict because check this out. And this is where we're going to go into the next lesson, really. You see how the trend line, and I never play crypto or anything like that. And I can just easily come on here, see there's upside, and grab my trend line. I'm going to teach you how to draw this too in the upcoming classes. And then grab your trend line, go to the most recent area of resistance. Even if I wanted to just take ETH, and we can do this on our 4-hour time frame. I like to just use the daily just to make sure that there's resistances above me. But I can get on my 4-hour, I can grab any resistance that I want. Even if I wanted to do the daily, just the bigger and longer, farther away the trend line, just the longer you're gonna have to hold. But even if I grab my daily here, grab the trend line, grab the most recent heaviest resistance wick. So this is all-time highs, right? All-time highs is up here. Here's how I know when price is ready to get some all-time highs. So I don't even have to guess. I can eyeball and see here, okay, price made 1 higher low, 2 higher low, 3 higher low. I'll say after like 3 higher lows, if you see price going up for like a month straight before that, it's probably bullish. And this is also a really good beginner-friendly indicator I'm going to give you too. EMA 921 plus VWAP plus MACD plus RSI Pro V6. A lot of the times, like it'll tell you if price is like bullish and things like that too, but you don't really need this. You're going to be able to just eyeball it. But same thing here. You can't draw your trend line wrong either. There's not really a way to draw it wrong. You could grab it because if it's not on the right point, it's just not going to be right. If I grab my trend line, see, if I miss my point, it's just going to be wrong. So I have to diagonal it. I can hit control on my trend line though. So I'm going to hold down control. It's going to put down this magnet mode here, and you're going to get this with more practice, but this is how you know when a price is ready to go up. You actually don't have to predict the bottom at all. All we have to do is just see where the top is. So instead of predicting where the bottoms are, let's just know where the top is. And check this out. So I'm going to put control, click on the top, boom. I'm going to click on my trend line. Then from there, once I have it selected on the top wick, I'm going to go ahead and just draw it diagonally. And as you can see, boom. And this one lines up amazingly with this resistance here. So from the top of this here, this resistance wicked off of it. Now, this is also how you know too. So you have one of two ways here. You're going to have professionals, and you can also just eyeball certain ways too. So you know how we just talked about how resistance turns into support. Check this out here on Ethereum. Resistance, okay? Nothing in the market's random. I'm going to tell you that too right now. Resistance here, turn into support. grab a box, boom, boom. Resistance turned into support, just like the drawing. And this happened Sunday, so a few days ago. So honestly, right now, if you're looking to long it into all-time highs, right now is a good time to buy some Ethereum. Exactly. Can you see how much upside is up here? So even if I deleted the trend line, price needs to remember the V I told you about, right? So price is going to try and this is the bottom it made. We don't predict bottoms over here. We just play and hold. Boom. Guess what? It needs to go ahead and fill the whole V now easily. Okay, so that's why it'd be a good time right now. So even if you wanted to buy and hold ETH, you'd be able to hold it into all-time highs. Right now would be an amazing time to buy. And then you go ahead and close at all-time highs. Look at all-time highs too. Nothing in the market is random. Check this out. You see how price shorted here in 2024 and March, and then price came over here in December, shorted in the same place again. So what price is going to try and do is break above that. And just like I told you, resistance is going to try and turn into support, and then we're going to get new all-time highs. And that's how the market and crypto market and stock market works and goes up infinitely over time, over the years. So here's a few just good examples here. So whatever you wanted to play. So once you learn how to read the chart, you can play whatever you want. You can play crypto, forex, options, stocks, it doesn't matter. You can play whatever you want and just buy and hold. So right now, if you wanted to buy ETH, you could hold all the way until all-time highs with some high confidence. But take a setup like NVIDIA, for example. Is there resistance above NVIDIA? Current price is right here. Current price is always going to be the furthest most right candlestick too on any time frame. So if I zoom out and delete everything here, is there resistance above current price? Current price is right here. Okay, so I can't play this. If there is no resistance above current price, we cannot play it because we don't know when it's going to stop. There's no direction. There's no bias. There's no break and retest. There's no structure. Price already did his thing. People already made their money on it and they caught the whole move. You missed out on it. Don't FOMO. There's no such thing as missing out. There's literally no such thing as missing out. There's always going to be an opportunity. God has your plan for you. So just be patient and understand that your setup is going to come. God's going to give you your setup. You're going to be trimmed. There's going to be time. You're going to make your bread. So don't be poopy pants because everyone else made their bread. God's going to give you your time. You're going to make your bread. Don't forget, it's time to make your bread. Don't think about everyone else and how much everyone else made on their move. Just think about your move. All right. So now that you know that too, no resistances above current price equals we cannot play that. So if there's not a resistance above the current price, we can't play that because we don't know how high it's going to go. And remember, the goal of price, especially when price gets bullish and starts going up, is when price decides to break resistances. So if I check this out right here, the price break and retest right here. Price break and retest right here too. So resistance. Go ahead and draw this here. Resistance turned into support. Resistance into support. And then price decides to go ahead and fill the V. And even if I just grab this resistance right here, drew my trend line if I wanted to, as soon as price decided to get above the trend line, this is why you don't have to predict ultimate bottoms and lows. You can just grab a resistance, draw your trend line, and once we get into contracts and stuff too, we'll talk about it. The further away the trend line, the more time it's going to take to hit take profit. But inshallah, I can assure you, if there's resistances and it's a good item to buy, such as like a good crypto or a good stock, you're going to hit take profit. So this is an example here, AVGO. And I gave some trades in my Discord too, but this is AVGO right here. Gave this a few days ago. Resistances was marked out here. Soon as price got above the resistance, literally not even a slick of drawdown, just straight to take profit. This is disgusting money here. So like I said, I just had a student send me a screenshot. They just made like 600 today, and their trade is not even at take profit. They actually closed early. So Google right here, this is the trade I've been waiting for a couple of days. Super duper easy. I'm pretty sure we went over this on the demo call together. And as you can see, it's at 178 now. Was at 174 yesterday. So it's just super duper easy. It's bread to be made. You can make your whole rent in one day. You just got to just double down, just stay down. Don't buy anything but contracts. And like I promise you can run up like 6 figures your first year for sure, especially in times like this when market's on discount. Take Google, for example. A lot of resistance to the upside. And I really wish I went for mentorship when I first started instead of coming to learn it like all alone, because you're going to save a lot of just time and money. So instead of taking unnecessary losses, the cost that you pay today, your first trade, like probably the first day of that will recover like a good chunk of it once you start getting into the profits. But same thing with Google here. On our way to this resistance, we just broke out of the zone literally yesterday, Thursday the 26th, just to show you I don't lie. Higher lows already got put in, but I don't have to predict because the resistance trend line got broken. So I don't have to predict higher lows if I don't want to. I can if I want to eyeball it. You get to a certain point where you can eyeball it pretty easily. I can see here quickly like resistance, support, support, and then I can see, okay, everything correlates. I can see closes, but all that just comes from experience. I just look at it all day. But a lot of the times with the trend line, if you just play that and the break, you're going to be able to just catch the gap fills, especially when there's resistances above current price. Market area resistance, draw the diagonal trend line, wait for market to get above the trend line, catch it to the area of resistance, boom, continue to farm that over and over and over again. And ideally too, say this, for example, this is another trade I marked out a few days ago, hit take profit, had this area of resistance, marked it out, bursted, take profit a few days later. So it's really, really simple. Remember the goal of it is to get above, turn resistance to support, and go ahead and blast above again. Inshallah. And remember, just like we talked about too, support turns into resistance. So this area of support right here turned into resistance. And just the more you look at it, the more you study, the easier the market's going to go ahead and become. And you can go ahead and just predict dips and good times to buy just a lot better. So right now, Google, really, really good trade right now to buy. Apple is trying to make its way bullish. They've been going through some lawsuit stuff, but it's trying to make its way bullish. The 4-hour. Yep, 4-hour time frame here. And as you can see with Apple here, I can see price wants to chase these resistances up here. Apple can be a little more choppy, which is why sometimes swinging it can be a little odd, but once it gets bullish, it gets bullish. But once all this chops stuff ends, I could see us heading to up here, especially since I see we're putting in ultimate low, a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then I see we want to go ahead and make our way up to the resistance, inshallah. Tesla here. Same thing for Tesla. You're going to be able to just eyeball quickly. Here's a super low of supports. Okay. One area of support, 2 areas. Price held this area down here. Strong area of support. Nice. Okay. We have this mini area of support right here reacting with this resistance. And market is going to give you the answers, many answers every single time. So this support over here with this resistance is why this support is working again. And price gave a break retest right here off of this resistance. This resistance turned it to support, break, retest, held it, and then price gave us another chance of it again. Held the same resistance, decided to not break down above. If price were to break down above, we'll probably head back down into this range, maybe. But this decided to go ahead and hold right here. So if you ever wanted to short too, you could see certain things like this. So now that I know that Tesla wants to hold this area of support right here, I know that if this area of support breaks right here, I could at least take it down to, you know, even if I didn't want to be super greedy, because remember, resistance should turn into support. So even if I took it down to just like these resistances right here, I could. So I could wait for this to get broken. Boom. Boom. Right here. 260 and then boom. 273. 273. Boom. So you'd be able to go ahead and catch a nice short trade just like that too. So you don't always have to play to the upside as well too, but just remember that the point of the market is for it to go up. So even this area of resistance up here, you can see that this wants to be met. If I draw a diagonal trend line here, boom. Let's see, price is now above it. Boom. We have this tippity top point two reacting off of it. And price gave me, you see how price literally retested the trend line? The higher low right off the trend line. When you see a higher low, like right off the trend line, you're most likely safe to go ahead and long too. Especially when price already made a resistance near take profit, you know, price wants to go ahead and blast. So you could most likely just go ahead and hold, take it all the way up and close up here at this resistance. And it's just about us eyeballing the proper things. Well, I mean, crypto's 24/7, but stocks, you can't look at it on the weekend. You can look at it at 4 in the morning on Monday, but before then, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not in stocks. You can do, yeah, you can do just disgusting things. Like my student, he just sent me a screenshot, $160 contract, and closed it for like $600, $700 on the day, and it's not even at full take profit. That was that Google trade. So, but he closed that early. It really should be like 1,000, but it's not really about the money. It's just that just shows you how like you're protected too. So it's just about your risk. So forget the profit, just your risk. So you're risking $160 to make 700 to 1,000 on these plays, and we're playing on the daily and 4 hour. So it's going to be taking like 1 to 10 days to hit take profit. And we're just catching big sweeps, and we're just catching the whole entire move. And it's really easy to just run up a bag quickly, and instead of scalping or day trading, you don't want to do that because you get convoluted. And say you're making like $100 like every few days or something like that, you're going to be losing, and your losses like might even be bigger than that, especially with the way options works. The way I'm going to teach you is like how to outplay pretty much everything. So your downside risk is going to be zero, but your profit you can make is infinite. But exactly, yep, you're betting directional bias. So, yep, and in the free course too, I would go ahead and check that out tonight if you were to have time. I know you have kids and stuff like that, but if you were to have time, all right, bet, yeah, definitely go. Please check out the free course, full options guide, and throughout each of the classes, we're gonna go over step by step. But today's really just more of the market introduction. But yeah, but yes, same thing with options. You're going to go ahead and you're going to be getting paid for the market direction. So yeah, if there's resistances, yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Yep. And even Riven right here too. See if this wants to hold. A lot of stocks, a lot of stuff is going to dump on Fridays too. That's another thing. On Fridays, stocks are going to dump sometimes because, and that's just a good thing. That's a good time to like rebuy, but they're going to redump because contracts normally end. They end on a weekly basis. So how long you can hold a contract, it the more expensive it is, the longer you can hold. So if you want to hold a contract and stay in the play for 3 months, that's going to be more expensive than it is to stay in the play for 2 weeks. Because if you're in the play for 3 months, and especially if you're in calls, it's a 99% chance you're going to make money. So it's pretty much you just pay for money. It's like you're buying money. You can buy money and just get more money. So that's pretty much like all you're doing when you're trading. You're just buying money and spending your money to just buy more money. But the pro and the upside of it, and where the knowledge comes in, is that if you can read the directional bias, then you can turn your money into just stupid amounts of money because the fact that you know how to read directional bias. So I can clearly see, like on just certain stocks here, and especially when they have good news. ConocoPhillips, for example, this too. You can see that price made this heavy area of resistance all the way up here. Price decided to make some resistance right here. As you can see, price broke out of it. 8 o'clock candle. We'll get into that too. You'll get to the point where you can pretty much read each candle. I can see every single one of these candles, and I know exactly which one is a morning candle. So that's an 8 o'clock candle. 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 When I see wicks and high volume candles on any 4 hour or 1 hour time frame, I could see exactly when market opens, and that just comes from just looking at it all day. But you're going to be able to get to that point too. But when you see heavy areas, like you see this heavy area of resistance, and then boom, right when market opens, it broke. 8 o'clock. We're on the 4 hour, but it'd be 9:30 if I was in the 1 hour. Right in the morning, 8 o'clock, right when the breakout happens. That lets me know if the level is good. So that's like little tiny sauce that I use that I know if I'm dead right. But we're going to continue to get in that too. That's like a little more advanced. But yeah, there's little things you can do and little consistencies and synchronities within the market. Like you can tell if you're just dead right. And it starts becoming like a joke. You can pretty much like almost never lose. And if you do, like it's not going to be even close to how much you win, especially playing like this. So that's what's really nice too. So when you do lose, it's not really going to matter because your wins are going to be so gargantuan. So yeah, there's going to be both ways to play. You either can play resistance into support or support into resistance, or you can play the trend line, make sure it lines up with all the points, and just wait for the trend line to get broken, and then go ahead and catch the full V. Because sometimes with break and retest, it might not want a V right here. This V might want to get broken. And yeah, but if the trend line gets broken, 99% of the time, it's going to gap fill. Because the V is already, the bottom of the V is already in place. So think of it like a drawing. Once you hit the bottom, you're not going to go back and redo the bottom. Like the bottom's already in. The next point of the V is for you to grab the pencil and brush an upwards formation. Okay? So that's why the trend line is so consistent. But if you want to catch the bottom of the V with your eyeballs, you can. You're going to catch like a little bit more profit by doing that. So yeah, you definitely can catch the bottom of the V if you want to, if you eyeball some good resistance as a support. But if not, then that's going to be like okay too. And then yeah, so and then same thing too for the downside. If I were to short, I see this trend line works out, drag, then bounced again, okay? So I know if price breaks this trend line, I'm at least coming to fill these supports, okay? So I see this trend line works, so this is how you short too. So if I were to short and see that the trend line clearly works, so okay, I see 1 tap, 2 taps, 3 taps. Okay, if price goes underneath this trend line, it's going to try and come to these supports. So if price breaks past 88, it's going pretty much straight to, it's going to fill to 85. So 88 to 85, boom. And then it could keep going further if it wanted to down here, if it truly chose. So price can go down here. So price breaks the trend line, it can stop to this support, and then it could choose to stop. Support right here. It could stop at these supports, or it could stop at this support right here if price breaks the trend line. So that's how you short. Okay. So that's how you short. And then resistance is how you long. Okay. So boom. So playing the market's going to be extremely, extremely easy. We go ahead and end the reporting here, and we'll go ahead and we'll just answer some questions.